Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Ruach double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakin that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Ruach Barak Dum. So, out here another week teaching the downfall of Babylon the Great, better known as America, and the things that will be taking place in the latter time. Because we know that Esau's at the very end. We can see, though, that any moment now they're going to do another false flag and then go into Iran. No matter what, they are going to attack Iran. But other things are going to take place first. Of course, we know that being the microchip, of course, because it's going to be made mandatory. World War III cannot happen until the mark of the beast is made mandatory, you know. And we know that the economy crash and all that is just happening on a larger level. In fact, Moab, better known as China, is talking about boycotting all American goods. What do you think that's going to do to the dollar? You see, because they're tired of the tariffs. And, of course, that's more than anything else, because that's one of the exporters, because a lot of stuff gets exported, and a lot of people are just no longer buying, you know, especially if you're putting tariffs on everything. So what do you think that's going to do? Well, they're purposing that, you see, because of course they want to crash the old system where the petrodollar is the only currency. And of course, like everything else, you know that the war against Syria was really about building that pipeline, and of course Iran is the main people that would be running the pipeline going to Russia. So they're trying to stop that, which is why the whole false flag Sea of Oman incident, you know, as well as, of course, the purposely going into the airspace of Iran. Of course, Iran's going to respond to that, you know, because, you know, the weak are saying that they are strong. And like everything else, though, you know, our people still want to party all the time, still love it here. They're not looking to get out of here. No, they're going to go celebrate the 4th of July. I mean, I understand why the Edomites go and celebrate that, but are people celebrating that? You see, because they are likened unto Esau, you know, because, you know, you can call it Stockholm Syndrome. It's a lot of things, but just our people are rebellious anyways. It's not like we haven't come out here with our sign and called to our people, call our people out. No, they still want to worship Caesar Borgia. They still want to go to the whorehouses. And they just would rather deal with the houses that they already have. They don't want to do any house cleanings. No, they just want to keep to everything. It kind of reminds me of Haggai in chapter 1 and verse 4. It is time for you, O ye, to dwell in your cleft houses, and this house lie waste. And what's that talking about? Well, you're not building up your spiritual house, right? Now, therefore, thus saith the Most High of Hosts, consider your ways. And that's what we're doing. We're telling our people, you need to repent of your ways. No, man, what you've been taught ain't right. You know you're not supposed to be eating abominable foods, yet our people still want to do it. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough you drink. But you are filled with drink. So that's just it, though, is people are just barely getting by, man, you know. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. And that's just it, though. You know, you got a hole in your pocket, man, because you're not making enough. You're barely getting by. That just barely kept the power bill on. That just barely kept the water going. Thus saith the Most High of Hosts, consider your ways. Go up to the mountain and bring wood and build the house. And that's what we're doing, though, you know, because everybody's in that predicament in one way or another, you know. But no, man, we're to build this house. What's this house? The house of David. And I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, saith the Most High. And that's what we're doing, man. We're building the spiritual house of David, you know. It starts out spiritually, you know. And everything else will fall into place if we be obedient. Especially Jacob's trouble being around the corner. If we build this spiritual house, we come out here and we plead with our people to repent of their ways, the Most High will be pleased with us. Therefore the heaven over you is stayed from the dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit. And I called for a drought upon the land, you know, because there is a drought going on. California's been in a dry season for so long, you know, and you know that there's droughts everywhere. You know, this place is plagued. And upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon which the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, upon all labor of the land. So what's that talking about? Well, you know, there's going to be a famine in the land. And that's a physical famine, but also eventually it's going to be a famine of the word. Eventually we're not going to be out here because, you know, pretty much the house of David has been built. As you know, that doors are closing, you know. The door to get into Great Millstone, to get into a camp of Great Millstone, we're not accepting new members here, you know. And that doesn't, you know, that means that everything else must be in play, you know. That must mean that, you know, because we're doing a house cleaning, just like it was talking about there, you know. We're making sure that our house is clean, and that the Most High delights in us, you know, because he does not dwell in temples made with hands, but rather he dwells in the temple of our bodies. You know, our body is that third temple. You know, Esau's always trying to figure out, well, when are they going to build the third temple? You know, nah, man, the third temple's been built, you know, and it's the house of David, you know, the 144,000. That's where the third temple is. But they're, see, they looking for something else. Of course, because that's the strong delusion, and so many people fall for it, you know. You got those Amalekites out there that are purposely provoking the war, and they're about to shut everything down, you know. You know, there's a plan to burn Northern California, and you know that Car Fire last year was just the beginning of that plan, because that was followed up by Mendocino Fire, Hearst Fire, and Delta Fire. You know, all within the same time period. But he wasn't done there. A few months later, then you heard about the Paradise Fire. And then there was the Thousand Oaks Fire. You know, Esau has a plan. Of course he does. And that's why you're seeing the stadiums. I keep on bringing up the stadiums and arenas. That now they're just having a lot of events within the city limits, and that's all curfewed, and that's all controlled by the police in the police state. That no longer will you know, there's very few left. You know, because even Sacramento Arco Arena is no longer. But a lot of them places, man, you know, pretty much, you know, they're downsizing. You know, that's why, you know, you're hearing about, well, they only dealing with half-filled shows. Because, you know, let's face it, though, the mirth of this place isn't there anymore. I just read about it in Haggai, you know, which that was then and so it is now. You know, that you're just barely making enough. You know, you're not going to be filled with a lot of drink. You're not going to be filled with a lot of food, you know, but you build your spiritual house so you can be filled with those things, and the Most High will provide those other things, because you were never meant to make it here. You were never meant to prosper in Babylon the Great. This is a place of our punishment because we went off, because we weren't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, you know, and so we're almost done at the end of our punishment, and that's why you're seeing a lot of Edomites going through all the curses that we've already been through, man. We're experienced, you know, because we've been dealing with that all our lives, but these Edomites, man, they just don't know how to deal with it, you know, especially after the Car Fire, because they were the same people that were looking very much down upon their own brothers, man. Their own brothers that are out there homeless, man. They were looking down upon them. Then this Car Fire happened, and a lot of them became homeless, but they couldn't take it. Now, a lot of them have been breaking into abandoned buildings and been staying there. Unlike the homeless that's always been there on Park Marina, you know, all around that area, you know, that pretty much, you know, what they do is they have a structure, man. They don't just stay there in a tent all day. No, man, they have a power structure, man. They go around, they read the newspaper, and they, you know, get their coffee or whatever, you know. But unlike the others that are there at the Car Fire, man, you know, what did they do? They went in to break into homes and to ravage places, you know, because, of course, by violence this place was taken, and so by violence their place was taken. You see how that happens? Just like what's happening in Syria now. Is that not what happened to our people? Aram is being punished for being partakers, you know, in the bringing down of us, you know. The same thing is happening to them. You know, they handed us over to the Edomites, and now the Edomites are coming over them, especially Amalek. You know, taking over Golan Heights, and of course, have balkanized Syria. You know, pretty much all the things. Both Babylon the Great and Syria are being judged at the same time. As 2nd Esdras chapter 16, which I don't have on me, correlates with Jeremiah 49. That in that same day, in that same hour, that Damascus will be taken away. The same day and the same hour will Edom be taken away. And that high place of Edom, which is Basra. Basra is another code word for America, because that's where it pretty much, this is the place, the land of unwalled villages, that did not open the house to the prisoners. No, because Emancipation Proclamation was not freeing the slaves. No, we just became paperweight slaves. Pretty much, we're a slave to that dollar, you know. But, like everything else, though, once you build your spiritual house, you're no longer a slave to that either. The Most High will provide for you, and we're just going to have to live by that faith, because the famine is coming, you know, and it is in the process of happening. You know that things didn't turn out this season because he has smited this place with plagues, just as he did with the old Egypt, so it's happening now. And like everything else, though, the best thing that we could do now is to make sure that our house is clean. So I hope all that's been uplifting to the elect that's out there. For that, I will say, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ashim Rakakadash, Barak Atom, Wah, Abba, Baba.